At this time, I'm gonna call to order this regular board meeting of the Mineola Independent School District Board of Trustees on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. For the record, it is 6:01. The following board members are present: Jennifer Abercrombie, Kendall Banks, Glenn Dossett, Jay McGow, Jill Kiamball, Jeffrey White, and myself, Rodney Watkins. The purpose of this meeting has been posted according to the requirements of section 551 of the Texas Education Code. Item B on the agenda is open forum. If you have joined the meeting tonight and you wish to address the board, now is the time for you to come forward and make your remarks. The trustees may not respond to items not listed on the agenda, but will in every way possible make sure your concerns are reviewed and if necessary call for an agenda item related to the concern at a future meetings. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. As presiding officer of the board, I have the responsibility to remind you that individual personnel issues are discussed in executive session. Therefore, please limit all public comments to program situations and or issues. Anybody sign up? Okay. At this time, I'm gonna call the board into executive session according to the provisions found in section 551.072 and 551.074 of the Texas Government Code. No final action, final decision, or final vote will be taken in executive session. An open meeting will follow the executive session where any final action deemed necessary and so posted will be taken by the board. For the record, time is 6:02. Okay, I'm now going to declare the Board of Trustees back in open session. For the record, the time is 7:33. While in executive session, no final action, final decisions, or final votes were taken. At this time, ask everybody to stand and Superintendent Mines lead us in the invocation.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for the day that you've given us, and we thank you for this opportunity to meet here tonight. God, we thank you for so many blessings that you placed upon our school district. We thank you for our students. We thank you for our faculty and staff. Thank you for the parents we have an opportunity to work with. And Father, we thank you for just such a special community to be able to call home in. God, just guide us as we make decisions and make decisions concerning our students, God, that we put them first in all situations, but our faculty and staff, and keep them in mind as we make decisions that impact them. And God, we just ask your continued favor upon the school. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Jill, will you lead some pledges?
Yes, sir. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Well, we thank everyone for being here tonight. Most of you have to be here, so.
But I do like those orange pants.
That's kind of fun going on tonight, isn't it? Okay, we're gonna move on. Y'all just bear with me because I have to read this. Item F on the agenda is open forum. If you have joined the meeting tonight and you wish to address the board, now is the time for you to come forward and make your remarks. The trustees may not respond to items not listed on the agenda, but will in every way make sure your concerns are reviewed and, if necessary, call for an agenda item related to the concern at a future meeting. As presiding officer of the board, I have the responsibility to remind you that individual personnel issues are discussed in executive session. Therefore, please limit all comments to program situations and our issues. Anybody sign up? I see.
No.
None of y'all signed up, so we're good. That's good. Okay, we're gonna move on to item G. That is the superintendent report. Superintendent Nice.
Mr. President, members of the board, all eyes on the weather to what's going to happen over the weekend. Before I leave the office tonight, I'm going to send out an update on our app notification. Just the fact that we are now under a winter storm warning. Everything that I've read says it's going to be into the early hours of Saturday morning through the day on Saturday. So we had rearranged soccer. Soccer was supposed to play tonight, but they didn't have officials, and so that's been rescheduled to next Wednesday. We are gonna play varsity basketball only here tomorrow. So we're playing Winona. We got varsity boys starting at 5. Not quite sure if the girls will have a team yet, but they will play directly after that if they don't have a team. So we'll just have those 2 games, get everybody home, get them safe. And then Saturday, we pretty much canceled everything in the district. We had a good cabinet meeting, talked about protocols. Tonight's message will also say something about our animals that are here. We talked about just some issues we've had in the past with freezing there and not being able to access water. I think we've got all that covered, but one of the issues that also come up are gates that freeze and can't be opened. So Chief and them are gonna be unlocking those on Friday night to make sure that everybody would have access to something here, if they needed to come up. So all those precautions are being taken, as we get ready to address the winter weather. We'll watch what happens over the weekend. You know, Monday, Tuesday could be iffy, but we've encouraged all of our parents to make sure they have the app downloaded, email, phone numbers updated, so we'll be able to address that. So we'll be ready to handle that. Career and Technical Education Center, a lot of progress going there. Got another construction meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock with our team at the office that's back behind the CTA Center that Jackson Construction has. The asbestos has already been abated, that's already removed from the building. Electrical upgrades are taking place right now, so if you walk into the building, all the ceiling tiles are down, they've got wires running all over the place in there. So those are electrical upgrades, fire suppression, and then your speaker system that's gonna be added to that. The expanded classrooms, that hasn't been started yet, those meeting rooms, but they'll be getting that knocked out pretty quick. Working on the electrical for the auto mechanic shop. We talked about this the other day with Perry and some of the team. The connection is going to come from the north side of the auxiliary gym, the old play gym there at the elementary. So that's what we're calling, if you do a facility request, the auxiliary gym. The power's gonna connect from there, and then they'll run a line under to the auto mechanic shop. So we've been getting that issue solved, working with SWEPCO on that, and they're getting all the finalized floor plans, getting all that stuff taken care of to get ready to do that. Basketball update, varsity boys in the hunt, it's a big week for us. Won a big game Tuesday night on the road at Malakoff, got a big one tomorrow night against Winona, so talked to Coach Stedman earlier in the week. I think we're about 3rd right now, I believe, in district. And then on the girls' side, pretty historic run. You've been keeping track, I think overall record, is it 26-7? I see that. Or no, it's not 26. 25-6, okay. So, I mean, they are on pace to do some pretty historic things, and should, if everything plays out right, should be able to win the district, hopefully undefeated. And so they've got a really good team. I think 14th in the state. Somebody correct me if I'm off. Yeah, I think they're 14th in the state, and so they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. Of course, the coldest time of the year, which means baseball and softball practice got started, so they're having to deal with that and battle through that and get some practice time in. We've got a huge date in the district, and you may all, I know our administrator, everybody here that works for the district, they've got their calendars marked on this, but board may want to mark it as well. February the 24th through the 26th is our district vulnerability assessment. And so last Friday morning, Chief came over, and Ms. Foster and Keith and Chase and I, we sat down, and he had a notebook. It's about this thing. I've got it somewhere over here, I think over by my desk somewhere, of the rubric that they go by. And so Sentinel is a new online platform where tons of information is uploaded. Emergency operations plan, multi-hazard plan, active shooter threat. Like all of that is uploaded. There's tons of stuff in there. So February the 9th, Agent Black, Jeremy Black, he's gonna start reviewing everything that's in Sentinel. And then on the 24th, I've got a meeting with him at 8:30 here, and we're gonna meet for 30 minutes, and then he's hitting the campuses. And they do a thorough walkthrough of everything that is supposed to be put in place legal-wise when it comes to school safety. So we went through that complete rubric. They will be asking questions, and we're gonna have obviously a meeting before they come, but we've been practicing this. Hopefully everybody's been working. They're gonna ask people, like, what was the question? Do you actively participate in drills here in the district?
It's a big one.
Everybody better say yeah. I mean, cause you do, right? From custodian to cafeteria work, what do you do during an active shooter threat? They wanna hear this from people in the day, like, They are looking for this. They're gonna be looking at the glass, the window film. They'll be looking at the facility structure, everything. And so that process will finish on the 26th. Agent Black will come back over. We will all sit down, we'll visit, do a debrief, and then that will be reported to you guys. Here's what we got. Here's how we did. So they have been working extremely hard, and there's been money spent. I'll give you a perfect example. Chief, actually, you can tell them this. The accordion gates at the auto mechanic shop, or not the auto, that Mr. Ramirez's shop and the ag shop. If you go back there, we had to put some accordion gates on there because if you know, when you come into the campus, like, we ain't got air in there. They're raising those doors. That would be a finding if we didn't have those accordion gates closed. We did some fence work over at the auto mechanic shop, would have been a finding. We've got a great relationship with Agent Black, known him for a long time. He used to be Smith County Sheriff's Department. He was the deputy, deputy chief, wasn't he?
Captain.
Captain, okay. So, but, he was at White House as their safety and security director, now works for TEA. But, he came out and kind of walked Chief through, here's kind of what I'm gonna be looking for and looking at. So, we hope we're ready for it, I think we will be, but we'll give you those findings once that's all complete, the 26th. And then last thing, Officer Hurst and I, we met yesterday with, Special Olympics, and we're gonna be hosting, first time ever, a cycling event here at the stadium parking lot. And so they came out, and this is gonna be on Saturday, March the 14th. About 80 cyclists from around East Texas and the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They're gonna come out and they'll have a competition here, and so if you wanna volunteer, they're looking for a ton of volunteers to be able to help out that day, so that ought to be a lot of fun. She looked at our parking lot and was like, just blown away by it, so very attractive place for it. So that's all I've got. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to answer.
Redistricting?
February 2nd, great question. So Coach Crow's gonna represent us. They're gonna go to Region 7, and they'll get that information. Our football schedule was set, and then Harmony dropped us on week 1. So we're gonna be looking for a week 1 game. Yeah. So we'll be looking for a week 1 game. And they've got this huge database, and they'll start picking people up. And Region 7 and Region 8 will be working together on that. So to get those schedules.
But you will hear something on.
February 2nd, yep. Anything else? That's all I got.
Okay, next item is recognitions and celebrations. With Mr. Miles.
Mr. President, members of the board, January is, School Board Appreciation Month, and I know the gift started early last month. If you look at your table, you got a really nice cup gift by City National Bank that they wanted to provide for you. Obviously, the meal, it's hard to beat Cess, and so that's a part of your board appreciation as well. And so we also have plaques that we would like to present you guys. And they always do a theme every year, and the theme this year is Our Future is Public. And so this is School Board Recognition Month, January 2026. And this is in honor of your dedicated leadership in public education and continuing service to the children of this community. So you that have served on the board, you realize that you do that with very little pay. It's a sacrifice of your time, your energy, sometimes your mental anguish, and we appreciate your service, and the district appreciates your service, and the community does as well. So we've been honoring each of you this week through Facebook posts, and there's a really nice graphic that's on the homepage of our Facebook page and also on our website. And so I hope you've been able to take a look at Facebook and just see some of those people who commented that appreciate what you do in the school district. So thank you for what you do, and I'll pass these out, starting with our board president, Madam Vice President, Mr. Secretary, Mr. Dawson, Member Mr. White, Miss Amber Conley, and Mr. Kendall Banks. So we'll give y'all a round of applause. It's in the room.
Okay. Item I is consider information and action on items discussed in executive session.
For resignations and retirements, we have the following. This is a retirement, Ms. Rebecca Callen from the Wood County Co-op. She's been with the co-op for many years, and he's gonna be retiring this year. Also, at the high school, we have 2 retirements. Mr. Jackie Hayes, who has taught welding for us, he'll be retiring at the end of the school year. And then also Miss Tina Peterson, who teaches English 2, she'll be retiring at the end of the school year as well. And then we had Miss Maria Ruiz, middle school custodial service. She's going to be resigning, and so we're finding another place for employment. So those are the resignations and retirements. So
Good. Chair, I entertain a motion.
I'll move.
So motion made, we'll get a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand. Same sign if opposed, motion carried, it was unanimous. Next is, bad news, 'cause next is the, contract of the superintendent. We got a chance to, evaluate Mr. Mize and got a chance to visit with him. We appreciate him and the job he does for the district. And, at this time, we will entertain a motion to approve your contract for 1 more year. Yeah. Okay, got a motion made and we got a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand, same sign as opposed. That's good, that's
Yeah.
Okay, item I3, I'll let you do that.
Yeah, so, was able to talk to the board in executive session about our process that we went through today. And, got a kick out of one of the candidates, said, how soon do y'all want to hire for this position? Very soon, so it's happening tonight. And so, we're very thankful. We had a great process, had 13 total applicants, had 3 that we narrowed down to interview. And, went through that process. We had 10 on the committee, some great people who served and gave advice. And out of those 10, including myself, our #1 unanimous choice, everybody was like-minded on it, to lead our band, our director of bands, director of fine arts going forward in the future, Mr. Donald Myers. And so we're very thankful. We certainly appreciate Mr. Myers' leadership as this period is. Mr. Best has made his career change, and so kind of Donald was selected. He had the time, the energy, effort to come up, and he started working with Keith to do the purchase orders and start going through that process of what that looks like. And I think somebody said it best in the interview committee, like, what's it looked like since Mr. Best left? And it hadn't missed a beat. Like, the kids know what the expectations are. There's still work that's taking place. I mean, they're preparing for what's next. And so I really appreciate that leadership. And we've got a great thing going on. And I'll quote Mr. Strickland. Our group of directors that we have and how well they work together is so unique. And we have got such a good group that works so well together, argues, problem solves, figures it out, and then goes out and makes things happen. And he said that is just so rare in a band community. And so that's what we've got here. That's what makes it special. And then when they translate that out to the kids, the finished product is the result that we see with the results that we've got over the last several years. And they've been a huge part of that. So we're very thankful for them. And would like to recommend to you Mr. Donald Myers as our Director of Bands and Fine Arts for an administrative 2-year contract at a salary of $95,000.
Okay, any further discussion? We got a motion made, we have a second, we got a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand, same sign as opposed. Motion carried and was unanimous. Congratulations.
Speed.
Yep, come on up with him. Come on up with him.
Don, would you like to say anything?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for your vote of confidence. Having the opportunity the last month to kind of essentially have a practice run at it has opened my eyes a lot, and I can't tell you how excited I am and how honored I am to have the opportunity to continue the traditions of excellence that we've had here and continuing, putting kids first and taking care of them. And again, I appreciate you and excited to keep doing great things moving forward. So I'll thank you.
Can I grab your picture real quick?
That's Cassie. Touch.
Hey, love, orange beans.
myself down.
I think there's some extra.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
The girls.
Congratulations.
I saw about that practice on the way in.
Okay, we're gonna move forward. We're at, item J, information items. First item is J1, the financial report with Keith.
All right. If you are looking at your packet, I apologize, I left out this summary page that I normally include, but all the information's in your packet, this just kinda makes it easier to see. My goodness.
Thanks, sir.
Not prepared.
Yeah.
So something kinda interesting about this summary sheet that I do, it kinda allows you to just see the trends from month to month. I think this is the first month since I've been here that our ending cash balance is almost identical to the month before. That hasn't happened. So that's just an interesting tidbit, but, ending cash balance at the end of the month, December was, $10,357,000, and, that's just a little under 40,000 less than what it was last month, so almost the same number as last month. Total revenue so far, 11,764,000 and some change, and then we have spent, just a little over 8.8 million so far. I did look at the state payment ledgers, and as of right now, they're calculating that they owe us about $20,000 more than what we projected in our budget, so that was pretty spot on, but we do have some additional PEMS information going in, and our numbers went up, student population's gone up just a little bit more, so maybe that number will continue to climb and we'll get extra money at the end of the year. Our bond interest is, still holding kinda steady, it's a little over $2.2 million. Again, we're averaging about $10,000 a month in interest in that account. However, we're gonna start spending more and more of that money in the next couple months, so. Just a reminder, we do, as of August 31st of 2025, our rebate liability, to the IRS would stand at $322,000 because of arbitrage. So we will, keep in mind when we spend down that account, as it gets to about that amount, that's kind of where we'll halt at. And after that, we'll have to start taking considerations to, pay for some of those things out of our budget or out of fund balance, as we discussed before. Tax collections, any questions on the budget part before we go to taxes? Okay. Tax collections, we made a big jump in December, and caught back up with our average, so collections so far for current, year is 37.79%, and that's almost identical to what it was last year at this time, so. Caught back up after the statements were late going out because of legislation. Delinquent collections are at 38.88%, and that was at 39% last year, so we're right on track there as well. Questions on taxes? All right, we will go to enrollment. At the end of, well, not the end of, at current time in January, we're sitting at 1,806 students, which is another all-time high for the district. And attendance percentages, primary 94.73%, intermediate 95.61, middle 94.54, and second place high school 95.2. Intermediate wins.
and you start browsing.
We may have to, we probably need to get a trophy.
I'll
Just
take a
wanted
trophy.
to already pass that around.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, so everybody's hovering around 95%, which is a pretty decent goal, especially through January.
Let me say something real quick about attendance. You know, there used to be a threshold that reached certain distinctions, and it was like 95.6 or 95.8, or maybe a little higher than that, could start earning you those distinctions. They've lowered that a little bit now because just attendance statewide, and you'll see it on our tapper when I go over that in a few minutes. That 95% is really good. We're about 2% better than most of the state, which is great, so.
Any questions on enrollment or attendance?
Seniors are going down quite a
Yeah,
bit.
they
I think the
are.
Seniors are just trending under 100 now.
Senior riders,
Care to
106 to 98. They're just done.
Alright,
Congratulations.
They're enough, they're graduating early.
We've had a lot of
Sophomore in
graduates.
Princeton. Oh, are they?
Well, collective punishment going to
Well, freshmen and sophomores are going up.
Okay, moving on, item J4 is TICO racial profiling report, read Chief Castleberry.
So every year we have to file a racial profiling report. We're able to claim an exemption, meaning that we don't have to report statistics in regards to the racial profiling report, which essentially just means that we don't make enough traffic stops to compile a report that would give an accurate numbers on what we're doing as far as the race of individuals we're stopping and if they're getting searched. We make very few traffic stops. That doesn't mean we can't make any. It just means that we're not required to report. I'll give you another example of a very large agency that makes traffic stops that also claims exempt, and that's Texas Parks and Wildlife. The game wardens, they don't make a report either. And they make a whole lot more traffic stops than we do. So, I'm required to report this to you, and that's, it's an exempt report again this year.
Okay,
No, we don't have to know.
well, thank you. Item J5 is review and discuss the 24-25 Texas Academic Performance Report.
So the taper's our annual report that has a ton of data when looking at the previous year's star scores and just a variety of accountability numbers that are there. You know, it's easily to get overwhelmed by looking at all these numbers and trying to figure out the things I really focus on, and I've said this for a long time now. I think there's three doorways really you gotta get through, okay? So third grade reading scores, Algebra 1, and then career college military readiness. Are we ready to go when we get out of high school? So I'll draw your attention to those and we can look at them. And then if you look at just intermediate campus in itself, much improved from the year before, which is credit to Angela's leadership and the things that her and her staff have been able to accomplish. So super proud of that. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Miss Ray too, because, you know, this is the first time that we've had third grade with the primary school. And we always thought that would be a benefit to us because, you know, there's a lot of collaboration that takes place, and that vertical alignment that when you're on another campus, you don't get time to communicate with those teachers. And so now they're all in one building. And so this is those first year results from this. So taking a look at grade 3 reading, and I'm just gonna go to meets grade level because that's the standard we want our kids at, okay? Meets grade level. If you look at 2025, we had 59% of our students that met grade level. The Region 7 had 51%. The state had 52%. So you're 7 percentage points better than the state, 8 percentage points better than the region. So, awesome. And you can look at that for every grade level and every test and kind of see what's going on there. So, like if you look at grade 4 reading, I mean, those scores just like, wow. I mean, they're solid in approaches, and that meets is up there as well. I mean, you can spend time and just go through each one of those and take a look at them. And so then moving over to Algebra 1, the first end of course test. So if you look at the meets grade level, we have 54% of our students meeting grade level when it comes to Algebra 1. It's huge. Region 7 is at 34%. And then the state was at 45%. So we're 9 percentage points better than the state, and we're 20 percentage points better than Region 7, which is awesome, okay? If you keep sliding down, I like to look at this one because I think it's really important. All tests, all grades, all subjects. You know, if you go over to the meets, things kind of even out a little bit more there, but we're still outperforming the region and we're outperforming the state. If you look at meets grade level for all grades, all subjects, we're at 53%, Region 7's at 46%, and then the state is at 50%. So still outperforming the state and the region in all those tests. So very proud of that. You keep sliding down in the report. I'm gonna go over here to college career. Actually, I'm gonna stop at attendance rate real quick. Attendance rate is a couple of years behind. That's what you see on this report, where the star scores are previous years. Attendance is a couple of years behind. Here's our attendance for the district, 23-24, 95.5%. Region 7's pretty high, 94.9, and then the state's at 93.6. So we're almost 2 percentage points better than the rest of the state on attendance, which is good. Page 20 of 34. And then if you keep sliding down, let me see if I can get to college, career, military readiness. This is what I'm super happy about. It's on page 24 of 34. So kind of that final, are we meeting the state standard when it comes to that? Our college, career, military readiness sits 2 years behind, 23-24, 93.5% of our students met that requirement. Region 7 was at 79.9%. The state was at 81.8%. So we are well above 12 percentage points better than the state for making sure that our kids are classified as college, career, military readiness according to the standard that TEA set.
Killing it.
Now, I've got high, you know, I've told that this came up as a, like, I can't remember when we were talking about that, but we were talking about just expectations for like our promise scholarship and some of those, like, my expectation for our kids, we're going to the military, where we're gonna learn an awesome trade, serve our country, and get money to go to college if you wanna do that afterwards, or do it while you're in the military. Go in the military. Second option is go to TJC, have it paid for by the TJC Promise Scholarship, get a certification, get an associate's degree, move past high school with some further training. Or number 3, we're going to get a bachelor's degree at a 4-year university. There shouldn't be another option. All of our kids should do that. And I think it is so important because there are so few of them that maybe dad owns a business, I'm getting out of high school and I go to work for dad, I can make a livable wage. Go get some extra training and then go into a career field where you can start making a livable wage. So I think that's critical.
Does technical school count?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, which is awesome. I mean, that's big for our kids. And you know, like auto mechanics, that story that I shared from Mike Rolla, there's high needs. And I mean, I've heard this conversation about the career side, technical side, like it's becoming a national security issue. Like, we've got to have these people that can do this work or we're gonna be in a real bind. And so that's our job, to make sure that we're training those kids into those high income, hiring areas. And you know, the tricky part is you gotta have some great people, which we do at the high school. How do you convince a 14-year-old kid that HVAC might be your calling? You can make a great living doing that. And, you know, I was 14, I thought I was gonna play for the Rangers. Stupid. You gotta convince kids, like, this is the pathway to go, right? Like, these are the things we need to teach them and show them. So that's our goal, that's the expectation. But we're hitting a home run when it comes to that standard of college, career, military readiness.
Maybe I can share, there's 2 young men that graduated from here, went to, not journeyman, but, lineman.
Yeah, lineman, yeah.
Their mother told me at
Yeah.
20 years old, making more than she is in her 25-year career.
Yeah.
You know, right out of high school.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. And so you just go through, I mean, you can see all those areas. There's tons of data that you can pour. It has our staff, you know, what that makeup looks. It has our district, our numbers broke down from enrollment, kind of how many people are in each grade and what's been reported. And you can see how much we've grown. Last year, this report, 1,752 students, and he said he's at 1,806 right now. So we just keep growing because I wanna believe that people wanna be a part of a good thing. And so that's why they're moving to Mineola, or their kids are, transferring to Mineola, so. Any questions on that? And like I said, I know it's a lot to look through. Take your time to look through that, but if you have any questions, just call me or text me, and we can, if I don't know that, we'll find out what the answer is and go from there.
We need to share some of those averages with the public.
Yeah, we put together a graphic, sure, yeah.
That's pretty impressive on the readiness to college career.
Yeah.
And we're way above the state, so.
While you're doing an update for the weather, you can do
We wanna hit that at prime social media time, yeah.
Well, tonight's Friday.
When they're all sitting at home during the ice storm.
Yeah.
We'll put it on Mineola Hometown Happenings, everybody's.
Okay, moving on, item J6, first reading of resolution regarding Senate Bill 11 and local policies FNA and DGA concerning prayer and reading of religious text.
I've been waiting to hear this, just reading an article in the paper about quitting.
Yeah, so it's, you're gonna have an interesting decision to kick around in February, and I'm told, I think we talked about this the other day with the principal, we've got to figure out what this may look like if you decide that you want to do this, and so, it's kind of a catch-22. I think it was probably designed by the legislature, and I'm not really sure who authored that bill, but I think it was kind of set up in a way to put y'all in a bad spot. Cause right now, like, if a kid comes to school and they sit down in the cafeteria and they open up their Bible and they wanna get a group of friends and read it, you can do that all day long. There's not a person in our midst that's gonna say, put your Bible up. They can read that all day long. Or a staff member, if you wanna read, if you wanna read it at lunch, you do FCA, it doesn't matter. But this requires you to designate a time that is non-instructional and coordinating a place for students, staff, to be able to read the Bible or religious text, have times of prayer, and they have that area which they can go to, okay? So, there's some policy there. I want you to take a look at it, check it out. There's a resolution that goes with it. And so, I'll just read the resolution to you. It's resolution regarding Senate Bill 11. It's due in March to the state, is when we have to turn this into TDA. But it's just a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts, and it basically says, we shall adopt a policy requiring every campus in Mineola ISD to provide a period of prayer and reading of the Bible or other religious texts as provided by Education Code 25.0823. And then you can see the policies, it's pretty vague, it's setting up those operating procedures. So, I think
Is it mandatory?
we have to make a decision on it, that's mandatory.
Well, I get that, but if a kid, but we're gonna say, we're gonna give 15 minutes.
I think the tricky part is, do you say there's already a lot of freedom to do that? And we're not gonna put a burden on the principals to figure out where that room's gonna be and who's gonna be watching that, making sure the kids are okay, and it's moving some things around versus if somebody ever came back and they said, you sure are a godless person, because that allowed to set aside prayer, and I can't believe you wouldn't vote for that.
So is this like on top of if a kid just during lunch wants to read their Bible as well?
This is a coordinated place where they go to be able to do that.
Is it in addition to, are they still allowed to read their Bible at lunch?
Yeah, it doesn't change
I mean,
anything.
Okay.
It's just
In
add-
addition
adding
to.
on.
Yeah, I'm not,
They do
yeah, I'm
whatever,
not
yeah.
stopping,
Yeah.
okay.
We have several that bring home breakfast,
Yeah.
lunch,
Okay.
recess.
And I had a teacher that heard about that and she offered her room during Buzz. So if we decide to move that direction, I've got a plan, but we already have kids, and through FCA and stuff, but we're
I
not.
think it confines it more instead of it letting it be open. I kinda like the openness of what we allow our students currently. And, having the Bluebonnet, curriculum, I think we have a lot of openness to religion.
Yeah.
And I think that this would hamper it, honestly, by saying you can only do it
Well, it's not saying you can only do it this
I
time.
know,
at
but
this
I mean,
place.
it pinpoints it instead of saying, do it when you feel like it.
I don't know, I can see on the opposite side though, if you have a time schedule in place, you might have a child or a student that might be nervous to go out at lunch and sit next to that kid and ask them what you're doing, but if they have a designated place to go, say, hey, tell me more about what you're reading, then it can open up a lot of stuff that way too as well. So, just saying, you know.
No action needed tonight, just think about that, and we'll
First
bring,
reading.
yeah, first reading, we'll bring it back up next month, and
Sounds like
we'll
we're
let you.
about to be going to skip. I'll be on hometown hat. I'll get all my information, I ain't want to.
But I will say this, like,
I know other.
I was just popping into the intermediate campus and watching basketball campus, back practice at the middle school. The Good News Club, which is at the intermediate campus, they were me, and I thought it was awesome.
So-
Those folks are teaching, you know, and it's volunteer, like, parents, you know, decide a way for them to go.
I mean, I don't see us having a problem here with it too much, other than the bigger schools.
Yeah.
But is it one designated area for all religious texts and worship to go into, so you're gonna have the same room,
Think
multiple
what you would have
different?
to have multiple rooms.
So you have to have multiple rooms, different rooms.
No, you have to have a different room for.
Yeah, we don't want
So you
Gaza
can
Strip
imagine, like, if
situations.
you're in an urban area, what that may look like.
Those won't be sanctuary sites.
There's a reason why I sit back here quietly now. Once we started recording, like, I'm just gonna stay quiet.
Bring it on.
Okay, we're ready to move on.
Action items.
Okay, we're moving to action items. We're getting something done now. K1 is consent agenda. Everybody seen it? You sent it last week, you got it there. Entertain a motion.
I move, a second.
Motion made, and a second, I guess, to approve it. Is that what your motion?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Motion made, approval. Signify your approval, raising your right hand, same sign opposed, motion carried and was unanimous. K2 is new and unfinished action items. K2A is discuss, consider, and approve the purchasing of Chromebooks.
We're running low on Chromebooks, and so basically, if a Chromebook breaks, we try to fix it. If it becomes where it cannot be fixed, then we're having to give kids a new Chromebook. And so we're currently not in the business of replacing grades of Chromebooks right now because we don't have the funds to do that. And so this purchase would allow us to have roughly 200 Chromebooks that should last us hopefully a couple of years. And the company that Joseph really liked was this one that's highlighted CTL because it's rugged construction, meaning they're gonna be able to handle some of the abuse that the kids might accidentally do, as well as we can fix the Chromebooks ourselves. A lot of these other companies either require you to send a Chromebook to them to fix, or they have to send a person out here to fix them, and both of those cost a lot of money. And so with CTL, we get the parts from them and we can fix them in-house, such as Ms. Foster's son, and we save a lot of money when it's all said and done when we can fix them. So, but when you're talking about 1,800 kids in the district, and we probably have, I would probably say roughly 1,500 Chromebooks, it's a lot easier to be able to fix them in-house, but you gotta have some loaners on each campus when a Chromebook goes down.
Is this a budgeted item, or?
Yes. Yeah, it's in the budget.
It's in the budget, okay. Any further discussion? If not, I entertain a motion.
I'll move, CTL.
Made to approve and got a second, signify approval, raising your right hand, same sign as opposed. Motion carried. K2B is discuss, consider, and approve a minimum staffing of one district police officer per campus during regular school hours. Chief Casper?
So this is a DVA item. If y'all would like to read the rubric, by the way, I'd be glad to email you a copy. It's great reading material. So I'm gonna read you what the requirement is so you understand why you're doing this. It says the Board of Trustees of each school district shall determine the appropriate number of armed security officers for each district campus with a minimum of one officer per campus during regular school hours. They do consider our intermediate and middle campus to be one campus, as it's under the same roof and there's no division between the two. And that's currently how we're staffed. One there, one at the primary. Me and Caps are both at the high school, but I float as needed. So I just need something from y'all saying our minimum staffing is one officer per campus.
Okay, Chair, I entertain a motion.
I'll move.
Got a motion and a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand, same sign for opposed, motion carries. It's unanimous. Next is, K2D, discuss, consider, and take action on approval of tax sale of real estate. Did I skip one?
See, we're on C.
C.
Oh, I sure did. Yeah. Discuss, consider, and take action on amending the student code of conduct to reflect that Mineola ISD Police Department officers will not perform administrative or discipline duty in place of campus administrator.
This is another DDA item. It currently doesn't reflect this. I'm gonna read you what the requirement is. It says the district has required documents describing the duties of school law enforcement / armed security. The duties do not include behavioral or administrative duties. That's already in line with how we operate. Again, I just need it in writing for the DDA purposes.
District vulnerability assessment. Let's come back there.
Okay, we've got a motion made and we have a second. All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Same sign opposed, motion carried and is unanimous. K2D, discuss, consider, and take action on approval of tax sale of real estate in Mineola ISD.
Okay, this is, one of those that our delinquent tax attorneys bring to us, and opportunity to get this property back on the tax roll, and, you can see that it is a place, the site description, 707 University Street. Lot 1B, block 16.
Cross from bus one,
Is that big
Yes.
a lot?
second house on the left.
What was that?
If you only knew
What'd you
how
say,
many
Jim?
times I've been to that address when I worked patrol for the city of Mineola.
Is that big a lot or is there a house?
That's right off.
There used to be a house there.
Used to be a house.
Is it vacant
Hey,
now?
as a reminder,
I
this is
see a
being
picture
recorded.
that shows it
Oh,
looks
I
like
know.
vacant.
It's all public record.
What he described, yeah, it's not a, yeah. It's not a tax.
Yeah.
Sign 'em up.
They might wanna check the property, know.
You got
Yeah.
it? You got it.
All
I don't know if the house
Okay.
is there.
Chair, I entertain a motion.
I move.
Got a motion made and a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand. Same sign opposed, motion carried and was unanimous. K2E is discuss, consider, and take action on interlocal agreement between the city of Mineola and Mineola ISD for conducting elections. Mr. Smith.
This is just the same agreement that we do every year with the city to kind of do a joint election. If they have an election and we do, then we'll just kind of partner together for that. Use the same facility, so.
Okay. Entertain a motion. Got a motion and a second. Signify approval, raising your right hand. Same sign of opposed, so motion carried and was unanimous. K2F is discuss, consider, and take action on adoption of order of election and details necessary to call the May 2nd, 2026 Board of Trustee election for two at-large, 3-year positions.
Alright, so this is the state document. It doesn't, this is not the one that says that we're having an election. This just lays out the details, the dates of voting, the locations, all that stuff. And then, yeah, just all that information about if we do have an election, that's all the information for how everything's gonna be laid out. So that's required first, and then after we get our applications in, then we'll come back and actually call an election if we need to.
I move.
Okay?
Second.
Motion made and a second, signify approval, raising your right hand, same sign as opposed, motion carried, was unanimous. Last item, I think, K2G, discuss, consider, and take action on Mineola ISD district plan to address teacher certification compliance. Ms. Foster.
So House Bill 2 requires by the year 2930 that, we do not hire uncertified teachers in the foundational, areas, K through 12. And so this is the plan that we created to meet that deadline. And so I'm asking for y'all's approval that we can turn this into the state to be able to meet that timeframe.
So basically, TA gives you an opportunity to file a waiver, so you have to create a plan, unless, you might have to guide me on this. The board approves the plan, TA, do they have to sign off on that, or they just check it to see that you have it?
They're gonna approve our plan.
They would approve it after the board's approved, okay. But if you look at the plan, like you can see, like, she's got it listed out, like, our elementary level, self-contained K through 5 teachers. And then elementary reading, language, arts, K through 5, 0%. The math, 1, and then that just goes all the way through the grade levels for a total core curriculum of 10.5, 14% of the district. The staff, teaching staff. Which I probably grand scheme of things, Melissa, I mean, you correct me, like 50 to 60% coming in to new hires, brand new people are uncertified. Okay.
They don't graduate fully certified anymore.
Yeah, and that's a big issue. Can you talk to the board about kind of what you've seen in those programs?
So used to, you would come out, have student talk, taking your test, apply for your certification, you had everything. But now there's so many more tests they have to take, that they take during student teaching and after student teaching. And until they've passed all those tests, they can't even apply for their certification. So while they may student teach with us, they still don't have all their tests done. And usually that still takes about another year, because you have to wait so long between each test. You have to do a practice test, take the test, do a practice test, take the next test. And it's just a much lengthier process. Like for my age teachers, they have to take at least 3 tests, if not 4 now. So it's much longer, and they're not coming out anymore with all those tests already under the belt.
So, I told them, like, it's a problem statewide. Region 7 has worked really hard to create a certification program that has some face-to-face components, some online components, but it's a very structured program, and that's what we wanna start pushing those people to. Hey, none of this completely online stuff, you're gonna do Region 7, that way we know you're gonna get certified in a timely manner. So, that's game plan.
We can do that as a mandatory hire.
Yeah, that's in our plan. Yeah.
I wrote that in the plan,
I like
that we would push that.
Strong work.
Because one of our big issues with several of these, alternative certification programs is it's at the teacher's pace, and so they're turning what should be, 16, 15 months into, 3 years, 5 years, when it should be realistically completed within 2 years.
Yeah. And part of that's on, I'll say, part of it's on me, because I haven't stayed on top of them. But they're teaching full-time, they're contacting parents full-time, they're conferencing, they're assessing, so it is harder for those that are self-contained especially to do a full-time teaching job and everything that comes with it, and all those hours online before they can even look at a test.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that it would be beneficial knowing if I get hired on here as a new teacher, that you're supporting me with this program, that you're setting me up for success, instead of letting me just flounder around on my own. So
And Kevin at Region 7 does a really good job. Does a really good job.
And I think it should be something that we boast and promote about, and that would be a selling point, I would
We're not
think.
mandatory in Region 7 program, if there's any fees, we're making the teachers pay out of pocket, or is the school paying for the fees?
So they have to pay.
Okay, all right.
What does that cost them? That's been years, but what is the cost monthly for a teacher?
Well, it's
Do they
about,
break it down for them in the monthly?
they will
paycheck?
allow them to make monthly payments, and if they're a paraprofessional moving into a teacher, a lot of them will even work with that demographic as well. But, the different programs cost different, so it ranges from about $3,500 to about, I think the highest one was close to 5. So some people need to shop around too, but Region 7 is pretty point on their cost compared to the others as well. But then you have to weigh those supports that Region 7 has, that those strictly online ones don't, because they require them to come to Region 7 so many times and actually have a person they can meet with face to face. Where in online, they never see those people until they come and do their evaluations.
Yeah, Cassie did hers 10 years ago through them, and it was, I wanna say it was like $300 a month, they took it out of her paycheck. And then, she had to go every one Saturday every month for about 8 hours. So, yeah, so, it probably hasn't changed very much.
Yeah, no,
so.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, I'll entertain a motion. A motion made and a second, signify approval, but raising your right hand. Same sign if opposed, motion carried. And was unanimous, and we thank everybody for being here tonight. And have a good evening.